Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's boardzy, and I don't even know what to call this video. It's going to be a very shocking one. I guess like a combined mouse unboxing first impressions. Not really an unboxing because these products are out of the box. But yeah, yesterday I was able to receive the Ninjutso Sora V2. Not the original unit that I lost. A viewer named ItMeStan on Twitter decided to send me his copy out very generously. So I appreciate that. So I'm actually able to make a video on the mouse. Final Mouse randomly sent me the ULX large. I did not know I was going to be getting this a bit early, I guess, because the units aren't going to start shipping out for another week or two. So I'm just going to give some quick thoughts on that shape compared to the medium and the Air 58. And I also got the Death Adder V3 Pro Smooth Touch Coating Edition, because when I made my top 5 mouse list recently, I caught some heat for not including the Death Adder V3 Pro. I even got one comment who was like, man, I trusted you. Why would you lie to me about the Death Adder V3? And it's like, I did not expect me not including the mouse in a video to like cause that much drama. But yeah, really the reason I stopped using the Death Adder V3 is because my Faker unit started creaking, my original white unit started creaking. So I'm like, there are just so many mice on the market, I'm just not going to use it if it's creaking. I'm just going to wait for a new version. And the Smooth Touch version had been out for a little bit. This is just like, it's not the exact same as the Faker, but maybe it's just because I've used the Faker so much and it's gotten a bit like wetter, more rubberized and like glossy feeling. But this is like, it's just a really good like rubberized coating, but it's not like overly wet. It doesn't pick up prints. It's just a very good coating. And also the build quality is extremely solid out of the box. I don't have any of the creaking that affected my other version, but yeah, honestly, I've been fooled by Death Adder V3s in the past, but I know the wired version, like that shell doesn't have any creaking, and it looks like they might have adopted that on this new one. But yeah, I don't know how much I really have to say about this mouse because it's a fucking Death Adder V3. It feels amazing. Obviously, I shilled the Death Adder V3 for a reason. I just stopped shilling it for another reason, but now I'll go back to shilling it just to please the people who I clearly fucking wronged when I did not include that mouse in the list. But actually, on the topic of the Death Adder V3 Pro, it's actually not all sunshine and rainbows because, I mean, first off, the price is just fucking ridiculous. Like, I understand Razer is not on the same level as Red Dragon, but Red Dragon has a 4K dongle included with one of their mice for $50. Like, this is damn near, well, it's over 3 times that price, and you get an 8K dongle included. I'm like, okay, that's a pretty good value proposition, but you can see it's locked to the Death Adder V3 Pro. Like, why would they do that? I genuinely don't get it. I mean, I understand they want people to buy another dongle if they have a different mouse, but it's like, what the fuck? Like, I kind of understood it on the Viper Mini Signature Edition when that dongle is locked, but that's just like inexcusable. And the price of the mouse, like if you already have a creaking Death Adder V3, it's hard for me to be like, yeah, go spend $170 on this new version that may or may not develop that issue down the line. So, I mean, I love the Death Adder V3, the shape, the weight, the buttons, like it all feels very dialed in on this copy, but it's like, do I feel like I really got my money's worth? Not really. My old unit should still be fucking working properly, but you know, it is what it is. I just wanted to add that, especially the dongle thing. That just makes no sense to me. But yeah, now moving on to the Ninjutso Sora V2, a big, shocking one, a mouse that just refused to deliver to me. Once again, thank you to Stan for sending me out his unit. This does have some use on it, so, I mean, I don't know, I feel like that makes the experience a bit more valid. But yeah, this is a modified version of the shape. They say they redefined the butt of the Sora V2. I mean, just moving mice around, it's crazy how much lighter this one feels at 40 grams full solid shell. But yeah, the major changes are the hump is just going to feel a lot more like prominent in your hand for claw grip, as opposed to before where it was just like kind of wide, low. It was just an awkward feeling shape, and that was my biggest complaint about the Sora. So I'm actually happy to see them address it. They also put some comfort grooves on the clicks. Feels kind of close to like the Lethal Gaming Gear LA1 click design now. The optical switches, I would say they're not a weak point, but they're just all right. Like, there's definitely some variance between mouse 1 and mouse 2. Spamming it honestly does feel fine, so I don't know. I don't have too many complaints, but it's just like a somewhat cheap click feeling. But honestly, for a $100 40-gram fucking solid shell mouse, I think that the clicks feeling ever so slightly not premium is not really a game-breaking issue. And yeah, I did also see some complaints of the sides being tapered, but they were originally on the Sora, and I don't think that this is necessarily like any worse. The sides don't feel as flat as something like an OP1 or an X2 Mini, but for fingertip, I think this is all right. It's not as bad as the G-Wolves HTX, which I feel like is really just the standard. Like, you can see this is somewhat like an HTX. If the buttons weren't as low, the mouse had much higher of a hump. But yeah, those other aspects are somewhat like the HTX. I feel like that's not really too useful of a comparison. And yeah, another good comparison is the X2H Mini, and I just feel like the Sora V2, like the proportions make a little bit more sense. Like it's not as stubby of a mouse. The button height is not as drastically different as like the hump height, so it's just not as bulby of a hump in hand. So if you found the X2H Mini a bit too aggressive, this could be like a solid side grade you'd be a bit more satisfied with. And I'd say it's also a bit more like viable for fingertip grip, but I'm sure people are wondering, at 40 grams, the weight balancing is incredible. Like this really does feel like a top tier lightweight mouse just in terms of weight and feel. I know it's like a polycarbonate plastic mix or something, but I don't know, it's like, it feels like a fucking plastic mouse. Like anybody who's like, oh yeah, this is clearly not plastic is a liar. I don't know if anybody's even said that. The skates, it's an interesting thing. This mouse actually doesn't come with any skates applied, so I threw on some Final Mouse core pads. I'm just like such a fan of Final Mouse skates, putting those on pretty much any mouse. Some people do it with dot skates, but those people are fucking stupid when you could be doing it with Final Mouse skates instead. And yeah, honestly, just stay tuned for a full review on the Sora V2, but as of right now, the build quality is remarkable as well. I'm truly squeezing as hard as I can and just not a single flex. But yeah, I'll have more thoughts on just the shape, everything, but I would say as of now, this is definitely one of the top mice on the market, and the fact it's available for $100, yeah, it's only 1K polling, and you need to buy a separate dongle whenever that exists, but it's still fucking absurd. I would not let that just overshadow how crazy this mouse feels in hand. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's the best fingertip shape on the market, but it's definitely an absolutely solid one, and this mouse just clears the Sora of 4K. Like, I feel bad for anybody who bought this, because they've just had something so much better around the corner. But yeah, now for the last mouse of this interesting roundup mail day unboxing, whatever you want to call it, video, is the ULX Large, and this is just going to be more of a quick size update. Like the quality, there's nothing to note with my unit. The sides feel fine, there's no popping. It's identical to my medium batch 2 unit pretty much in terms of feeling, but the big thing with this is that it was marketed as an Air 58 clone, and I would not say that it is a clone. It's definitely closer to the Air 58 than it is the medium, but there is this screenshot going around of Final Boy saying that it's a 1% size difference, and I would say it's a bit more than a 1% size difference. The biggest thing you're going to notice, at least that I noticed compared to the Air 58, is just it is thinner. Like, it does not flare out as much. There's something like with the Air 58 in your hands, it just makes a lot of contact. I mean, obviously, I'm not fucking saying anything too unique here. So yeah, here's the top down angle, and like I mentioned before, the large size is much closer to the Air 58 than it is to the medium, but it's undeniably smaller. It's a little bit less wide, it's shorter, but in my opinion, it provides like more freedom when the mouse is actually in your hand. At least with my like 21x11 hands, it will vary, and if you do have big hands to the point where the Air 58 felt like on the small end, because I know there are some people like that, the large size is going to feel a little bit smaller. And yeah, it's a pretty big difference, because I can imagine there are still going to be people who the Air 58 shape is just too bulky and large for, who will actually be able to use this mouse. But if you were expecting a direct Air 58 clone, you are going to be disappointed. Even though I swear, when they did the drop, they like had the picture of an Air 58. It's kind of fucking insane to me. But yeah, the ULX Large is technically a new size from Final Mouse that we haven't seen before. I have not anywhere near enough time on this to know if I prefer it over the medium. I would say the medium still feels nicer for fingertip 100%. This does come in on my scale at 39 grams. Sometimes it says 40, so I'd presume it's around like 39.5. But yeah, it feels very impressive for a mouse of this size, obviously. But yeah, the weight feels very impressive, but I feel like maybe the reason they didn't do a true Air 58 clone is because it would have been over 40 grams, and that's not what they wanted. But yeah, that's just a theory. It is very similar to the Viper V2 Pro in terms of size. I know the medium shape used to get compared to the Viper V2 Pro, but this one is definitely even closer, and just the weight difference, I would say, is kind of absurd between these two mice. But yeah, I don't really have any complaints with the ULX Large. I will post a full review, like giving my opinions on this at some point in the near future, obviously. Maybe I'll wait for the Cheetah to arrive, maybe not. Yeah, I really don't think I'll give the Death Error V3 Pro Smooth Touch a entire new video, because like, why would I? It's literally just a new coating with potentially better build quality. I guess if it does start creaking, that's when I'll make a video. So presuming everything's good with this, I probably won't give it more coverage, and I'm very sorry to anybody who bought a Death Error V3 Pro because of me, for the potential emotional damage I caused by why not including it in my last top 5. But yeah, I would say the Ninjutso Sora V2 is it's definitely the most shocking mouse of this video, because I was waiting for it. I'm like, is it going to be good? It comes here and it pretty much delivers. So, I mean, I guess while I have it here, here's a quick size comparison to the Final Mouse Small. Pretty much it's going to be bigger, wider, taller in every way, and also much more designed for claw grip. Here's my 9:30 a.m. alarm that I've never used in my life going off, and that's going to be all for this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed, and for the future mouse reviews, and leave me any questions you have in the comments below. Peace out.